Hey guys, welcome back for another episode. So my name is Jason, the creator of I Am Legion for Dying Light 1 and 2, and I have another quick update. So sorry again, guys, for the late update for this latest 1.50C. I wanted to go ahead and take the time to make sure all this was done correctly and that we wouldn't have any new bugs that would pop up. I am still getting some weirdness on the new AI system. So every time they do an update, they do a bunch of stuff on the backside that doesn't always filter down to the front. And so I'm still continuing to work on the volatiles, especially. They seem to have their own little thing where they don't seem to be behaving quite right. But I did want to go ahead and just get this update out so you guys continue to play. You guys continue to play co-op together and enjoy the game, especially with this latest DLC. And so for that, I wanted to describe some of the things that I've updated. So first and foremost, I have not fully released 1.1 yet. That is still in the works, but I did want to announce that I have included some of those updates. So I wanted to go ahead and get those over to you guys. I know you guys have been waiting a long time for some of those updates, and so I went ahead and included those in this update. So first and foremost is a visual update to most of the PK throughout the world. So as you're exploring throughout the world, you should see that the PK now have a couple of different visualizations that you shouldn't have seen before. Things like scarves and heavy armor. So I've done away with some of the like really light armor that they had on before and upgraded them to heavy armor to make them a little bit more ready to take on the world. And so they're meant to look a little bit more intense when they're moving around the environment. So when you see them, they'll look like they're actually armed to the teeth and look like they're actually ready to take on the zombie hordes instead of wearing a lot of the lighter armor that they were originally wearing. So you should still see a lot of this lighter armor inside the bases, but once you head out inside the actual world, you should see them wearing heavier armor like this. And I went ahead and gave them some different camo patterns on their scarves and that kind of thing, trying to maintain some visual aspect, but also kind of leaving it to their own design. I think I'll go ahead and switch over to daytime for this next part so we can look at the zombies. So I went through and basically every zombie has been overhauled in its own way. So I basically did not like the fact that so many of the zombies had the same look throughout the game. So there was a lot of them that just kind of maintained the exact same look. They just changed the color of the shirt. I went through and changed a lot of that. So basically the idea is that and quickest way I can describe it is I really wanted to give them torsos, full torsos. A lot of the models are being built together with like arms attaching with shirts and that kind of thing. I really wanted to go through here and try to give them a solid body so that I could move forward with like changing their outfits and that kind of thing. So a lot of them will now actually have a torso underneath their clothing. So I did manage to get that put together, and the end result of that is that you should end up with a couple of the zombies. They should look a little bit different from what you've been seeing before. So each one should kind of have its own visual appearance. You will occasionally get zombies that are looking very damaged, very weather beaten, and that's by design. So you now have zombies that look a little bit more ragged and bloody versus just having the same look over and over again. So as you can see, we have quite a few new looks walking around the wasteland here, and I've really made use of some of that skinny look. So some of them will have like wilted legs and that kind of thing, and so be prepared to see some differences there with these zombies as you're going through the world. So that applies to both the males and the females, and I've tried to get playful with a couple of the infected, not a couple actually. So I've gone through and also done the infected as well. So the infected are now meant to take on more of the renegades and the actual army or militiamen and several of the other factions that are in the game. So as they continue to come out with new DLCs, I want to continue to try to get some of those new DLC armors and that kind of thing down into the world. So that way it feels like they're a little bit more closely related. So here's an example of one of our wilted guys, and so he's moving around the environment. You do have sometimes this two-tone effect, so sometimes you can get the two-tone color between the two. Hopefully that doesn't bother you guys too much. Basically, I tried to make it look like some were like, maybe trapped in vehicles, or, they had different conditions happening to them. And so different ones have different levels of exposure. But the end result should be that you get a large variety of characters moving throughout the world to try to reduce down on some of that repeating spawn effect. And so hopefully you guys have fun with that. Let me know, what you guys are running into, if you guys like the changes. It's one of those things that took a good while to pull off, but once I did it, I was actually having quite a bit of fun building out these new zombies. Which, by the way, this is actually, I've stepped into the fog area, or right near it, so that would explain this volatile during the day here. So continue to move forward here. So the volatiles actually, not the volatiles, but the virals were pretty interesting in the fact that they essentially use the same torso for all of the different virals. And so I actually had to get creative with some of them and try to give them different appearances, even though they kind of maintain the same mesh. And so again, let me know what you guys think about some of these changes. I look forward to hearing your guys' feedback. Next, I'm going to go ahead and actually, I think we're near. Go ahead and die really quickly here. Pitch slap him really quick. And so this is actually, I should have mentioned at the start of the video, so this is on the survivor level. So I have gone through and I've rebalanced the spawns. So I've tried to cut down on the number of screamers and volatiles as well. So that's no longer a major factor as you're walking through the city. You shouldn't be walking down a street and having like 6 or 7 volatiles or 6 or 7 screamers in one area. Next, so I did include my character creation system with this update. So again, it's not fully finished. It's part of 1.1 when it comes out, but I wanted to get your guys' feedback and kind of hear what you guys thought of it. Basically, the name system is still not working for me. So I'm still not able to inject any name systems, but basically what I've done is I've represented 2 different characters or 2 different groups here. So you have female characters and male characters, obviously, male skeletons, male plague doctors, and then different female icons to try to represent the females. So each one of these are meant to represent the actual different characters that you can play inside the world. So if you go and you select one of those and then you press X inside the system, it will switch you over to where you can actually then place your armor and place your different things onto these characters. So you should be able to now fully play through the world with these different characters. And I really look forward to hearing your guys' experiences and how it's going. Let me know with your feedback, if you like these changes, if they're kind of janky, they're not working correctly. I really look forward to hearing your guys' feedback and excitement, hopefully, about this new feature. So some of these, the female characters are still a work in progress. So with each group, so you have your general characters. So the ones with these icons and the Plague Doctor icons are more the general characters. And I have tried to include different races as well. And it looks like we've got one that's still got a visual artifact there. But I've tried to go through and add the different races and that kind of thing to the game. So as you go through and select, it looks like, and then of course, so with this latest update, they actually made it to where they added new arms to the players right as I released this too. And so it looks like the skin changes didn't go onto the new arms. So I will need to go and make some changes for the different ethnicities for that to work properly. So I'll make sure to get that update out as well. But basically, you should be able to go through and select these different characters. You may end up occasionally with different arms that clip through and that kind of thing. But I think for the most part, these did a pretty good job of covering those arms up and toggling properly. So please let me know how that goes and what you experience. Lastly, I just want to mention, kind of in closing, that so one of the reasons that things have slowed down on this side with these updates is that I have actually launched my own game studio this last month. So here in August, I actually started my own game studio called Doppelganger Studios. I'm continuing to try to see what that company model looks like, and I'm currently working there now on my full-time job. And so that will be my primary focus coming up. And so I will not be doing the modding quite as much as I was doing before, just because I want to make sure to get in the time that I need to make sure I'm focusing in on my company. So thank you guys again for all of your support. If this, if you guys have any concerns about this or you want to give any feedback, please reach out to me. But I am going to try to make sure to keep my focus on that. And when I get my free time, then I'll obviously be continuing the projects that I find really exciting. But that's one of those things where just kind of changes with the career. So I appreciate again all your guys' support and feedback. I'll still be running the Discord. I just won't be on as quite as much, and the updates will be a little bit slower. But thank you guys again. It's been an awesome ride, and it's been great working on the mod for you guys. I look forward to your feedback for this next iteration. Thanks, guys.